live. What's up, Gray? Welcome to the apocalypse, brother. How's everyone doing?
I'm enjoying the apocalypse. It's always fun, man.
The apocalypse is where it's at right now. It looks like
Absolutely,
we're
man.
headed towards the apocalypse here.
Agreed.
The reveal. Everything is being revealed. Gray. Everything is.
It's
So,
getting
anyways, take it away, Gray. Hey, Gray, take it away. We haven't done this in a little bit. Last week I had to ditch on you. So take it away. Let me take a look and see who's in the chats here. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, I had to give everybody the bad news. I was like, "Hey, bad news for you guys.
Yeah.
Rudy's not going to be here." And then the worst news was you got to listen to me now for an hour.
Yeah, well, you didn't have to drink as much water that day, did you?
Right? Hey, I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Yeah, bad things happen, man. Bad things happen all the time. We just have to persevere. And I mean, not making light of it. When someone passes away, it's a terrible thing. But you know what? Let me go ahead and say congratulations to Yarn Prepper. She is a grandmother of a beautiful baby boy. All right. So congratulations, Yarn. And she sent me a picture, and it's a beautiful baby boy. I wasn't sure if it was a boy or a girl at first, because when it's a little baby, you can't tell. And then she texted me and said, "Oh, I forgot to tell you it's a boy." So, yeah, bad things happen every day to good people, ladies and gentlemen, but we have to also embellish in those things that are good that happen. Doesn't take away from the fact that we have to stay prepared and fill in those gaps, ladies and gentlemen, because I see inflation coming back. What do you think about that, Gray? Do you think you see inflation coming back? And I don't mean inflation in the sense of the monetary supply increasing, because the monetary supply in a fiat currency system always has to increase. It always does, right? If not, the system fails. I mean, in the sense of the price of things going up at a rapid pace once again, like we experienced here in the last 2-3 years. What do you think?
Well, I got some notes here just on that topic. It says, It says what will happen with grocery prices in 2024, because groceries is what's usually been affecting most people. And it says experts agree that grocery prices will continue to rise.
Wow. Isn't that what we've been saying for the last couple of years, and everyone's been calling us quacks?
Fear mongers.
Have you seen any of the videos that I put up where I talk about my bellwether that I use for Costco, which is their olive oil?
Yeah.
And it's incredible. We went, my wife and I, and my daughter, we went to Costco. I think it was on Saturday that we went. Or I don't know. We went to Costco in the last couple of days. And I showed her that oil, the 2-pack of the 3-liter bottles of olive oil, that when I started buying that olive oil when Costco first opened here, which was, I think, around 3.5 years ago or so, roughly, right? It was $19.99, and now it's $59.99. And I just think back to all those videos that I'd done saying, get your olive oil, it's going to go up in price crazy. And then I looked at the other olive oils, like the ones that come from Italy, or they're extra virgin single press oil. They come in the 2-liter bottles. And I looked at those, and those had almost doubled in price. All right. So as you can see, the demand for those is a little bit less because they're higher quality, a little bit higher price originally, but those have almost doubled in price from when they first brought them in. It's incredible. I don't know how some people can afford to eat a regular standard American diet, as far as how much prices are, because, although Costco is a membership club, right? That you have to pay a membership. I believe that the prices at Costco, when you match them, item to item with like Walmart, with these places that are supposed to be cheaper, I think the prices at Costco are actually less. So since the prices, in my opinion, are pretty much less for maybe not everything, but for a lot of things, I'm like, how in the world are the people that are buying stuff at Walmart and Safeway, etc., surviving unless they have 2 or 3 jobs?
No, I agree. Here I got some information. It says factors like environmental challenges, labor shortages could pose a risk to the ability, quality, and affordability of certain things. And they have some listed. They have spices, dairy products, eggs, of course, seafood, grains, which is like your rice and stuff like that, fresh produce, meat, and poultry. To me, that's like the staples what most people consume. So, I mean, eggs and meat, dairy products, seafood, even spices, your garlic salts and your powders and your onion powders and stuff like that, man. That's why I always tell people when you get the chance and you see something on sale, buy in bulk. It's just going to save you a ton of
I
money.
agree.
So,
I agree.
and it's funny that you mentioned that because I had those outlined here in my notes for tonight's live stream, specifically food, because a lot of us build prepper pantries or emergency food pantries. And, the people that have been doing it for, 10, 15, 20 years or however long they've been doing it for, like you and I have been, it's like money in the bank, man. Like you say, money in the bank. It's just that simple.
It is. It's almost like having gold, because not only is it your labor or represented by your wealth, right, that you spent on getting that, but it's multiplied in nominal value, meaning that it's
Mhm.
actually kept up with inflation as per what you earn, hourly, and what it would take you to replace that. So I was actually, organizing my pantry, or reorganizing it a little bit, because obviously I don't have as many carbohydrate intensive foods there anymore,
Mhm.
and it's a lot of protein. I still do, because I think it's great for barter. Plus, the rest of my family is not diabetic like I am, so they
Right.
obviously can have those things. And but anyways, I was reorganizing it, and I'm looking at everything in there, and I'm like, man, you know what? You know, I really felt good. I was like, if something happens, I know that my family is going to be fed. And
Absolutely.
you know what? A lot of people are finding out. They're starting to find out what we've been telling them all these years. And now they're struggling just to try to get prepared, because I've mentioned this statistics a lot of times, and I'll mention it again. 70+% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and you can still prepare, on the cheap. You can still get a little something here, a little something there, maybe a couple dollars a month will get you a lot of calories, really. I mean, $5 a month will get you 5 pounds plus of pasta. If you get it on sale, you may even get up to 10 pounds of pasta. A pound of pasta is 1,600 calories roughly, so you can still prep. But man, it was a lot easier to prep 2, 3 years ago, wasn't it, Gray?
Absolutely. As you're talking about pasta, one thing that kind of when I do my pantry hauls, and show people the types of foods that I get for the pantry, and I'll mention rice and pastas and stuff like that, and other things that are high in carbohydrates. And I do get people in regards to they're diabetic, and they say, hey man, that you're getting nothing out of that food,
Mm,
specifically pasta. And I try to explain to them. I said,
no
look,
way.
in a survival situation, an emergency situation, uh no matter what, calories is calories at one point or another. And I don't want to just deter people from just eating empty calories, but at one point, if it's a severe situation, you're going to want some sort of sustenance. And stuff like rice, pasta, beans, all that stuff, they just store for an extended period of time compared to most other foods that are, like your stuff that you have in your freezer and whatnot. So it's just like I always think about that. That I wonder if these folks understand that even if for someone who is a diabetic, if it's a true SHTF scenario, and we're going through something serious like that, you're going to eat whatever you can. I mean, people have eaten dog food just because
Yep.
that's all they can find or have. So I'd rather have pasta and be a diabetic and eat pasta during the apocalypse than dog food. Just my
Yeah,
personal
let me
perspective.
you know what, Gray? Pasta, in my opinion, is one of the best foods that you can put away for long term in quantity. And let me show you, while you were talking there, I skipped to a different page, and let me
Hmm.
see if I can show this real quick. Let me see if I can share my screen so I can show you what I'm talking about. And it's right here. Okay. All right. Can you see that?
I'm looking.
Okay. All right. So here's the nutritional information, at least the macro on pasta. Okay. So for 2 ounces, which means that in a pound of pasta, you have 8 servings. In 2 ounces of pasta, you're going to have, oh, this is fresh refrigerated pasta. So it's going to be a little more than this in your dry pasta. Okay. So your macros is going to be a lot more than this, because in 2 ounces of dry pasta, you have about 210 calories, roughly.
Hmm.
Okay. This is like if you made it yourself. You're going to have a little more fat than what you see here. Your carbohydrates is going to be more than this, and your proteins is going to be about 7 or 8 grams of protein. So yeah, I should have read it a little better before I grabbed it. But my point is this, is that pasta has a very good combination ratio wise of macronutrients, of your
Hmm.
protein, your carbohydrates, and your fats. It actually has a very good ratio. So if I were to be asked, what's one of the foods that you highly recommend for people to store for long term, that's going to last you a very long time, and it's the easiest, or one of the easiest in my opinion, to store for long term, I would say pasta over rice, to tell you the
Hmm.
truth. I think pasta over rice because it's got more protein, it actually has a little more fat, and it's going to last pretty much just as long as rice would last if properly stored, kept away from rodents, rats, etc. So yeah, I think pasta is a great thing to put away, and that's, even though I'm a diabetic, I think it's a great thing to put away. You can do a lot of things with pasta to bring down the glycemic index, like maybe mix it with lentils, mix it with beans, put some olive oil on it with some Parmesan cheese, which will slow down the pace at which the sugars absorb into your body, etc.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. I saw someone in chat, they were talking about they got chickens and all kinds of stuff like it, because I love eggs. Eggs are, eggs get a bad name. It's split. People say, eggs are high in cholesterol, they this and this and that, but eggs, for what you get inside that yolk, it's like you said,
Mhm.
all the nutrients inside that little tiny egg can sustain people for a lot longer than they expect. So I'm big into eggs, but I wanted to touch on something else. There's a lot of folks that watch you, watch me, and watch a lot of other channels like ours that do home canning. I mean, you're big into pressure canning, right?
Yeah, I love pressure canning meats because I think they taste delicious. And you know what? Let me go ahead and talk about the video that I put out on the meats that I think will last forever. Not just me, but according to the USDA. So I put out a video, Gray. I'm not sure if you watched it, but I actually put, these meats will never expire. According to the USDA, a can of meat, whether you buy it at the store or whether you pressure can it yourself, will never expire. All right. As long as the container has its integrity,
Hmm.
meaning that it doesn't have, it still has its seal. It doesn't have any pinholes. It doesn't have any rust. It doesn't have any big dents, especially towards the seal. It hasn't been abused temperature wise, meaning that it hasn't set at a temperature above 100 degrees, preferably, according to the USDA, below 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Me, I don't
Hmm.
like to let my canned goods get above 70 degrees Fahrenheit, but that's me, right? Will pretty much last forever. The only thing that goes bad, or that maybe is not the best, is that after a certain amount of time, it starts losing its efficacy in the nutrients that it has, and it also
Agreed.
starts losing a little bit of its texture. Other than that, it's good to eat as long as the container that it comes in is still good, right? So I actually opened up a jar of turkey that I jarred back in 2015 on that video. I ate it right out of the jar to prove to people that I was confident enough that that wasn't going to get me sick. And it didn't get me sick. None of it did. It was all very tasty, by the way.
I always tell people, because people always ask that when I buy my canned goods, because a lot of people have issues with canned goods, or at least random people that come on the videos that I do. And I said, look, home canning, pressure canning is great. I agree. It should be part of everybody's pantry. It's something that I've been doing this year, playing around with it. I'm not efficient enough to do a video on it and share it with my viewers because I don't want to give them the wrong information. I'm learning myself right now. And I could do those kind of learning videos, but I always think that people should supplement their home canning with canned goods. I think you should
Yep.
have a variety. You should have things, just because in case, let's say that shelf collapses and you have all your glass jars on that thing and they
Good
all
point.
get destroyed, you still have your canned goods. You know what I mean? So I always feel that food diversity in the way you store it, be it your 5 gallon buckets, your canned goods, your pressure can things, and everything else, equates to a solid food pantry. Because I kind of touched on some of those topics when I did, pantry mistakes that people make that they should avoid. And I just touched, like, just on the tip of the iceberg of some of the things. And a lot of people enjoyed that video because of the fact that there's certain things that I've ran into. But I also like when people leave comments because there are other issues that other people ran into. Like you in Alaska, you don't have the same kind of weather patterns that I have here in Florida in the regards to humidity and heat
Hmm.
that can create issues for other people's pantries that are in a southern environment versus a northern environment.
Yep.
Like my
Absolutely.
pantry works well between 70 and 75. It fluctuates. My humidity fluctuates a little bit. But I'm working on some other things that I'll end up sharing with folks down the road that I'm going to even better that situation that I have now. But that's main thing is just having a diverse pantry outside of just focusing on one thing.
Yep, I agree 100%. Let me just tell you the rule of thumbs that I use for pressure canning. Like, I don't pressure can just because I like to pressure can. I pressure can because it makes sense. And what I
Mhm.
mean by that is this. Let's say that I go to Costco because I need to get some beef in my pantry. I need to get some canned beef in my pantry. Well, I go to the fresh meat section first and I see what their beef costs there.
Mhm.
And then I take a look at what their canned beef that's already canned costs. And then I do a little bit of math and I'm like, well, how much does it come out to, in the can? And how much does it come out to when the fresh meat after I've done processed it and everything?
Mhm.
And if it makes sense for me to buy the canned meat that's already canned, I buy that canned meat. I'm
Right.
not going to go and spend all the time and effort pressure canning just to say, hey, I pressure canned it. Right. But if I find a really good sale, like that turkey that I opened up that was from 2015, I
Mhm.
remember canning that turkey. We had like 15 turkeys that had no home. All right. And I spent all weekend long, my wife and I spent all weekend long cooking the turkeys and then canning the turkeys. And that's because they were for free. We got them all for free. They were going to get thrown away. We got them for free like the day before they were going to throw them away at the commissary. And we went ahead and used them. And we ended up donating like 40 or 50 of them. And we ended up
Wow.
with like 8 or 9, I think it was, not 15, like maybe 8 or 9 at home. And we ended up doing that. It made sense. They were free. It's not like we went out there and bought it. No, we got them for free. All it cost us was the time, the jars, and the lids. But if it would have cost more to actually pressure can them ourselves than what it would cost to buy them, then we would have just bought them already canned. So that's
Do,
my logic when it comes to pressure canning.
do you think most folks do that? Do you think they equate to how much do the jars cost, the lids cost? When I turn on that oven, how long do I got to run that stove for? Do you think they run that cost analysis on this versus a canned
Mm.
product? I wonder how many people do that. And
I mean,
you're
I don't
making me
know. I
think about
can't
that.
say. When you think about it, just the lid alone is about 25, 30 cents, depending on whether you got them at bulk or not.
Right.
Right. So just the lid alone is about 25 cents. If you already have the jars, if you already have the rings, you're looking at about 30 cents just for the lid. All right. So that right there is going to really bite into the fact of whether you're going to be able to actually, get a return on investment
Mhm.
by doing it yourself, or if you're better off just buying the canned goods already.
It's kind of a funny story. I've been buying canning products, jars, lids, and all the accessories that come, pressure canners, all that stuff like that. I've been buying them for probably the last 5 years. So I've been stockpiling because I know that's something that I want to do, learn, and excel at. And so I thought to myself, because whenever I see, every once in a while, you go to Walmart or wherever that you find some deals on the
Yeah,
jars and lids and whatnot. So I buy them up,
that's
even
money in
though
the
that
bank, man.
exactly.
Canning jars, canning lids, that's money in the bank.
So, and it's just a smart thing to do. So I never knock pressure canning because there is a benefit to having that product there for you. Because in a certain situation, if you were, let's say you only bought so many canned goods and then you're hunting or whatever, and you're going to start canning
Mhm.
these meats and stuff like that, it's just an option to go with. But good topic in regards to price analysis, return on investment, and whatnot. That's actually something that some folks should look into in regards to knocking just canned goods in themselves, because I love Keystone Meats, and there's a couple other companies out there that just
Yeah.
basically put the meat in there and a little bit of salt, and that's it. You know what I mean? And
I think
sometimes you
that
can find
Keystone
sales on
Meats,
that
men,
too.
are outstanding. You know that?
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Keystone Meats are outstanding. I mean, Keystone Meats are pressure can the exact same way that I pressure can my beef or my chicken. I raw
Mhm.
pack them and I put a little bit of salt, sea salt, and that's it. And everything else takes care of itself. And it comes out great every single time.
Yeah, wait till you see. I got this big pantry haul that I'm gonna do here in the mid February, and a chunk of it there's some Keystone in there, and I just found a great deal, man, and I couldn't pass it up.
Awesome.
So,
Good for you. Good for you, man.
all right, so shall we move on to another topic, my friend?
Yeah, man. Do your
I'm
thing.
assuming. Down in California, it seems like there was over 1 million people without power Sunday night. And yeah, there's been a lot of matter of fact, I just got a notification on my phone as I sit. It says Los Angeles, extremely dangerous situation unfolding in the Hollywood Hills area around the Santa Monica Mountains. Life-threatening landslides and additional flash flooding expected overnight. So for the last few days, California and certain spots of California have been dealing with massive power outages, toppled trees, flash floods, all kinds of crazy things. That's what happens when I talk too much, folks.
Hey man, slow down, Gray.
Yeah, it's always I always get a tickle in the back of my throat, and I just saw that and I was like, man, I wonder if any of the folks that are affected by the situation are prepped. Do they have any type of foods put away? Do they have means of dealing with some of the issues that they're running into over there? It even says avoid travel if all possible on the alert.
Wow. You know what? I haven't heard of that. I was tomorrow is my news video. So I was going to start researching news articles and seeing what's going on around the world in the US later on tonight, tomorrow morning. So I haven't seen really too much of the news that's going on. But hey, look, man, I personally think that I've done my best in the last several years to tell people, listen, you need to get prepared. And not just for a day or two, but stay prepared. Fill in the gaps is what I like to say, because you just never know when you're going to need your preps. It doesn't have to be the end of the world. And I've never advocated to prepare for the end of the world. That's just, silly, right? But just get prepared for those basic things. People, I was watching the Funky Prepper earlier today, and he's showing pictures in the UK on how people are just panic buying everything. Like the shelves are bare because of that farmer strike that they have going on and protests and stuff. The shelves are like bare. Now, what's the father or the mother that has 3 days of food in their home going to do when their kids get hungry and there's no food on the shelves for them to even buy? I mean,
it's a scary
people
fact.
are going to have to suffer. Yeah, people will suffer. We are going to head into a time, and I think we're already starting to go into it. The time of suffering where we're going to go 50 years from now or 40 years from now. They're going to look back. If we're still here as a civilization, that is, they're going to look back in the history books and say, yeah, this was the suffering times. This is where it started. And this is what happened. And this is where it ended. Just like we look back at the Great Depression today, 40, 50 years from now, they're going to look back at this time. And they're going to be like, what in the world were they thinking at that time by doing all of the crazy stuff that they did in order to put themselves in that situation? So, but we'll see.
It's a good point. Another issue that's going to affect food prices and prices in general is the what's going on in the Middle East with the U.S. and Iranian attacks. It's going to threaten the oil prices. If you look at the past, when we've messed around with Iran before and got into situations in the Middle East, if it continues, oil prices will rise. People are they're enjoying the $3 a gallon right now because people have become accustomed to that $3 a gallon versus the $1.89 or so. But just imagine it still has the possibility to skyrocket with this conflict out in the Middle East.
Yeah, but not only that, also the shipping prices have, I think, tripled. I believe that shipping prices have about tripled or so, and oil prices will go up, I would say, as far as what your wages can buy you. And because I believe that we will eventually turn into a deflationary depression, meaning that there is going to be a lot less money going around and things are going to cost less, but there's just not going to be any money around for people to buy those things, even though they cost less. Kind of like the Great Depression was a deflationary depression. However, what I believe this time around will be different than what was during the Great Depression is that now we have quantitative easing, whereas back during the Great Depression, we did not have quantitative easing. The only thing that they could do during the Great Depression in order to inflate the money supply was for FDR to steal the gold of the American people, take it from the Treasury, give it to the Federal Reserve, and then revalue gold at a 65% higher value therefore effectively causing about 65 to 70% inflation in the price of things for the average American, meaning transferring the value of the money of the United States of America from the people to the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve was running naked during that time. So now they have quantitative easing, and quantitative easing came about in 2008 during the Great Recession, right? Or the Great Financial Crisis, they call it GFC.
Right.
So this time around, and this is just my opinion, I'm not like an expert at this, but this time around, I believe we will go into a deflationary depression. However, it's only going to get so far before, Jerome Powell, right? The
Yeah.
Fed chair. All right. So
Yeah.
when the deflation, picture this, all right, picture this, Gray, ladies and gentlemen. When the deflation gets so bad, Jerome Powell is going to give Elon Musk a call and say, hey, Elon, can you go ahead and ship me over a couple of those SpaceX rockets? And he's going to put a rocket on each side of the money printing machine. And we're going to get inflation like the world has never experienced in the history of mankind. I'm talking about trillions and tens of trillions of dollars that will be created out of thin air just to keep the system alive, ladies and gentlemen. And what will that do to the people that have a one income, that exist on one income, or maybe on a pension? Fixed income is what I'm trying to say. It's going to destroy them because their money is going to become worthless. People are going to lose everything. And those people that are already at the top, i.e., they like to call them the 1%, they're going to have all of that wealth that was stolen from us, we the people that did not prepare, transferred onto them. And then, Gray, is when I believe that there may be somewhat of a civil war in this country and probably in many other countries. Because right now, 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Imagine what despair the American people will be then when even more of their wealth is stolen from them. People are going to be pissed off.
I saw something there. I want to add to that here in a second, but I saw something in chat. People are talking about, potato farming and pumpkins and squash. And those are some of the things that I grow as well.
Oh, yeah.
Just to reiterate one thing, having a garden and being self-sufficient in regards to that is definitely important. But another reason that I do back to the whole canned goods things and having a, stocked pantry is if there's ever a situation that arises where you have a bad harvest, an infestation, whatever happens and your garden fails, you need to have another option. You need to be able to pivot and still be able to feed your family. So that's why I think pressure canning, gardening, pantry hauls, and all that stuff like that equates to you being as efficiently prepared for a food shortage or a food situation for folks. That being said, I did want to add that I found an article that said U.S. cattle herds are at a 73-year low as retail beef prices are at record highs. So the cost of beef is going to start rising higher than it already is now. Another scary fact there. And to add to what you were saying, and you might have something to touch onto this, is it says who's going to buy the $10 trillion in U.S. government bonds in 2024?
I know who.
Because it says the expert.
Want me to tell you?
They say, however this happens, it's going to shape our economic future or trajectory and the financial well-being for years to come. So whatever happens with this and what you're about to say could affect our economy for a long time coming.
Well, Gray, I've been following a gentleman by the name of Gregory Mannarino for a long time now. He's a finance guy, and he is passionate about what he does. He's very good at it. And for all of these years, I've been following him since before I even had a YouTube channel. And for all of these years, he's been saying there's one entity that will own it all. They will own everything, and that will be the buyers and lenders of last resort, and that is the central banks.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Yep, the central banks. Is that too bothersome, that noise you hear in the back?
I can barely hear it.
Okay, good. I've got an alarm going off in one of my phones.
Okay, you're good.
Yeah, the central banks will buy it. The central banks will buy whatever debt, and they won't buy it directly. What they are going to do is they'll buy it indirectly using the actual banks. So what happens when the Treasury has notes that they want to sell in order so that they can borrow money is that if there are no buyers, i.e., private citizens or other countries or corporations, if they don't want to buy the government debt, the banks will buy it. And then when the banks buy it, they take it and they sell it to the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve can't just buy government debt. They're not supposed to monetize any debt, but they get around that by just buying the debt from the banks after the banks buy the debt from the government. And that is very inflationary. So if we got $7 to $10 trillion worth of debt coming due in 2024, if whatever nobody buys, the Fed is going to have to buy, and they're going to have to print in order to buy that. And that's going to be very inflationary because they're putting money into the system that's not coming out of the system in order to buy that debt. I hope that makes sense.
No, it definitely does. And that's where I knew you would have a great response to that situation that's brewing here in the United States with our $10 trillion. Oh, man. Anyways, I want to pivot a little bit and talk about Fairbanks, man.
Let's talk about Fairbanks, man. Crazy place to live in. No, you do not want to come and live in Fairbanks. Stay away from it.
This is just a funny note, because I just want to, you can throw up on the screen. I put it down there below, but I saw this pop up on my stream the other day, and it just made me think of you, man, out there camping. I don't know where this is at in Fairbanks, but I have it down, a picture down in the.
Is it here? Oh, you want me to bring this up right now?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Hey, Craig, give me a second. Let me go turn off that darn alarm because it's driving me nuts.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Negative 49 degrees, folks. Just imagine. That's Fairbanks, Alaska. Negative 49 degrees. My wife would kill me if we lived in Alaska with temperatures that low. If it gets like below 60, she's freezing, man. But I saw that and I had to ask Rudy. I said, how's it feel to be a negative 49 degrees in Fairbanks, Alaska?
We have a serious heat wave today. Look at this. Look at that. Spring is here, man. Spring is here. It is awesome. I'll tell you what, very challenging. The coldest that it's gotten at our property this year, it's like negative 45. That's the coldest that it's gotten. And it's very challenging. I had a very challenging day because we had a couple of days of like negative 44, negative 45. And on the second, third day of those temperatures, things started to go wrong. But that's where having your preps ready comes in handy. That's where having extra parts for various things come in handy. You know how I have my tent here that I call my little, DIY hardware store. So having all of these things handy actually saved me. I actually came home with a load of water that I was getting from town to put into my cisterns under my house. And the hose that I used to transfer that water, I grabbed it and it broke in half.
Wow.
And it was that cold. And it's one of those real tough hoses that are made to withstand cold weather. But negative 45 does, weird things to your tools and your equipment. It broke right in half. So I had to stop. And I was like, you need to think. I had said, I need to think. What do I need to do? I knew I had some extra parts, and I went and got those extra parts, and I jerry rigged it, if that's how you call it, to where I was able to unload that 200 gallons of water into my cisterns without it freezing. And then that gave me time to think, okay, let me go get this, let me go get that. And now I fixed it, permanently fixed it. But yeah, you have to be able to troubleshoot on the spot, because at negative 45, you don't have time to call someone to come and help you. You need to be able to fix that. I even lost heat at negative 40 or negative 42 or something like that. And I had to go outside and negative 40 something and figure out what in the world is going on. And I had to fix it, because by the time that I'd be able to get someone to come out there, there's no possible way that it would have been on time. But anyways, negative 49, it's even colder in some places. This is UFA. This is towards the university. So this is the University of Alaska Fairbanks. And that's one of the parts that gets pretty cold. But also North Pole gets even colder than that area. So if it was negative 49 there, it was probably about negative 55, negative 60 at North Pole.
I don't know if this will work or not. Let me see if I go on my screen here.
Is that girl in a bikini?
That's what it looks like, right?
Crazy. Look, I will go outside, and like the other day, It was negative 40 something. I went outside in my shorts and my t-shirt, but I was outside for like 10 minutes. I was outside for like 10 minutes in my short, my t-shirts, and my Crocs, because it's not that big of a deal. It's just outside my door. If I get too cold, I'll come right in. But I don't know what they were doing there. I mean, good for them. They were having some fun, I guess.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Crazy, crazy,
Yeah, that's
crazy.
pretty cool, actually. That's pretty cool that they're probably just doing that to take a picture in front of it and which not very many people can do that. Take a picture in front of a clock that says negative 49 degrees Fahrenheit and they're wearing shorts or a bikini.
That's crazy, man. That is crazy. I saw that and I had to share that with you. I was like, man, that's right around the corner.
Yeah,
from
that's pretty cool. And the thing is, Gray, man, when it's like negative 40 and below outside, when you travel the highways, it almost looks like you're inside of a freezer, a deep freezer. Wow. It's just nothing but fog. There's really not very much visibility. It's, I remember driving my daughter to school one morning. It was like negative 42 out. And it was like maybe 100 feet or less of visibility on the highway. So pretty crazy. Yeah, pretty interesting, but we get used to it up here and we just overcome whatever it is that gets thrown our way.
Yeah, I just had to share that with you, brother.
Yeah, cool.
But now let's try to anger some people. You ready to anger some people, man?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, man. My last few videos have lost me a whole bunch of subscribers.
Uh-oh.
That's all right, though. People getting triggered left and right.
Unfortunately, at this day and age, people get triggered by the simplest things, man.
Hey, you want me to tell you something funny? I don't know if I told you this when I talked to you earlier there, now, but a hilarious comment that my wife read, and she read it to me. I just started cracking up. But this one guy on the comments was like, "Oh my God, 17 ladies and gentlemen in this video." He said, "For every ladies and gentlemen that you said, I did." What's a dab? A dab is like a thing of marijuana, right?
It's a concentrate.
I don't know if we can say that on screen.
You got me, man. We're not doing it on screen. We're just discussing it.
The guy's like, "I did a dab for every ladies and gentlemen you did, and now I am so high."
I'm assuming he's probably a vegetable at this point, man. That stuff's potent.
Oh, hilarious, man. People are so funny.
Sometimes I get a kick out of reading some of those crazy comments. I know I lose subscribers for certain things that I say, but I always feel that the people that are true to the channel will always stick with you no matter what.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with people getting upset about that stuff. Jeff Haynes asked, how far are you from Chena Hot Springs? Chena Hot Springs, I'd probably say about a couple of 2.5 hours or so from where I'm at, roughly.
So you want to hear the bad news? Well, I don't know if it's bad news. I mean, I think it's interesting what Alaska is, the political arm of Alaska.
You want to see dog? There's dog right there. Dog.
The frisbee catcher.
That's the old lady right there. No, she's not the frisbee catcher. Karma is.
You want to come here, Poo-Poo?
Okay. Come here, Poo-Poo. Want to say hi? Come here. I call her Poo-Poo. You want to say hi? Over here. Come here. Well, dog's in the way. It's all right. Oh, look at there she is. Come here. You want to say hi?
Well, there she is.
Say hello. That's my little buddy right there.
Man's best friend, as they say, brother. I don't know if you've heard this yet. Being that you're in Alaska, you may have heard that. It says Alaska plans to send National Guard members to Mexico border into support of the federal government, not like Florida and the other states that are sending it to support Texas. They're sending their National Guard in support of the federal government. The deployment could take place as soon as later as this year, according to mobilization instructions from the U.S. Army. So Alaska's National Guard, their political arm, is going to send their National Guard to Texas to support the federal government. Crazy.
That's a real shame. I wish you had never told me that.
I know.
I wish I would have stayed ignorant to that information.
When I read that, I was like, wow, man. So the governor of Alaska feels that he needs to support the current administration and their plans. I mean, to me, that's almost putting in a position to escalate the situation even more than it already is. You had mentioned civil war. I still
stand with Texas, and I stand with all of those other states that are in contrast to what the federal government is doing. Why? because what the federal government is doing right now, this administration, what they are doing is, in my opinion, considered treasonous. Every
Absolutely.
single one of them that are in there, in my opinion, are doing treason. And what I don't understand is, man, how is it that, be it a law enforcement officer of whatever branch it may be, ATF, FBI, CIA, state police, whatever, how is it that they cannot distinguish between a lawful and an unlawful order? And how is it that they do not understand that they are supposed to, by duty, not do an unlawful order, or say no, say, I'm not going to do this. It's unlawful and it's against the Constitution. How is it that they can sleep with themselves and conduct themselves in a manner that is 100% against what they took an oath to? I just don't understand that, Gray. I don't understand. And it breaks my heart that you have all of these people, right, that took an oath to something, to the Constitution of the United States, which is what's made. The Constitution of these United States is the document that's made our nation the best nation in the history of mankind. And I love it when some people say, no, it's not. The United States is not the best nation. Then why the hell does everybody want to come here? Why is it that any country you go to, they want to come here? Maybe there's a few countries where they don't want to come here because they see what's happening. But what I'm talking about is everyone wants to come to America because of the freedom that they see, because they see, wow, there's freedom there. And people like me and people like some others that have been here most of their lives, they're like, we're losing our freedoms. But the thing is that people from outside of our borders, they see this nation as the freest nation, with the exception of those that want to make their first act of coming to the United States of America an unlawful one by coming in the back door instead of the front door, of course. But why do so many people want to come here? I don't understand why law enforcement officers do not have the courage to just say no. Just say no. You have given me an unlawful order. And if they stand fast, then they'll be able to get their jobs back, because all they have to do is just let it go through the courts. I was watching a video today about these ATF guys, wanting to, search someone's home and etc. Right. And I'm thinking to myself, why in the world are they doing this? They know, they're educated, right? If you want to be in the ATF, you have to have a college degree. So that means that you're somewhat educated. Maybe that's the problem, is that they're educated. How can they not know that they are? I mean, if an idiot like me, if a layman, oh, what the heck? Let me see. Oh, it might be that my wife has gotten home and they hear it. If a layman like me can read the Constitution and say, hey, listen, this is the First Amendment, this is the second, this is the third, fourth, fifth, right? Then someone who's gone through college, there they go. Then someone who's gone through college, they know how to read. If you've gone through college, you know how to read. So how can you not be able to read the Constitution and see what it says? Like, the Fourth Amendment, leave my crap alone. You don't need to be looking through my stuff, whether it be on digits or whether it be, physical. The Fifth Amendment, I don't have to tell you a damn thing. I don't have to show you my license unless you can articulate a crime that I was committing or that I was about to commit. Just basic stuff. How can they not know this? They know it. They haven't studied history to the extent of what happens when you just blindly follow orders. And, my friend, unfortunately, if you look at cycles, we're entering that cycle where there will be people that will follow orders no matter what, no matter how bad they are. And all we can do is get prepared for what's coming and, try to overcome all of these, challenges that we're going to have coming our way. But, I just went on a little rant because it really ticks me off. And what you just told me about this governor, Dunleavy is his name, something like that. It's disgusting to me. It really is disgusting because to me, Alaska, in a way, kind of like represents one of those last places in the United States where you can really be free. You can be as free as you can possibly be in this system that we live in. And then for that guy to say that he would be siding with the wrong side, to me, is pretty disgusting. And he sure as hell won't get my damn vote next time he goes up for election. Unless he's the only one running against. You see, that's another bad thing. We have the illusion of choice. I was just about to say, unless he's the only Republican running against the Democrat. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I said it. Oh, I said it. It's because you have one side that's crazy and you have one side that's maybe crooked or corrupt, but man, just not as crazy as the other side. It's just the way it is. Man,
It
that's
absolutely
terrible.
is, man.
It's just like that senator from Alaska. What's her name? I forget her name. I don't even care what her name
I know who
is.
you're talking about. She's
She,
quite the
in my
character.
opinion, she doesn't belong here. In my opinion, she should be in an old folks home, getting fed applesauce, and there should be someone else there. She doesn't belong here. In my opinion, she's a traitor to her state, and to the nation as well.
Yeah,
But anyway,
I got.
stop trying to get me excited, Gray.
I'm still not even done, but I want to pause for a second and do a shameless plug if you don't mind.
Hey, go ahead, man. Plug away.
I just want to let everybody know if you guys have nothing to do tomorrow night, which if you do or don't, or if you get a chance to watch the replay, I will be going live tomorrow with the folks over at Nutrient Survival, the Wolf Pack, Becky and Eric. If you feel free and have the time, so join me tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be making a big announcement, and it'll be a lot of fun. And, when Becky's there, who knows what Becky has up her sleeve. So it'd be tomorrow night on my channel at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you care to join us and have some fun with myself and the Wolf Pack. Other than that, let's keep on this topic, Rudy, because I want to quote a couple of things, some things that I found interesting in regards to what's going on to the southern border. What is it? Rudy has.
Let me see. Oh, no, wait a minute, Gray. Here we go. All right. I'm glad did you see that comment that somebody left there?
Yeah, let me see if I can pull up the.
I got it right here. I already got a.
You got the.
I already got it. I'm just doing a copy right now. Just a second. I'll show it right now. Here we go. Let me go ahead and get this out of here. Boom.
Boom. Because it takes the governor to use the National Guard, correct?
Yeah, but check this out. I just found this because A Hobbit. Thank you, A Hobbit, by the way, because A Hobbit just put this here, and I looked it up just now. And here you go. Dunleavy backs Texas decision to ignore U.S. Supreme Court. And then Dunleavy signs statement of support for Governor Abbott. So I am very happy that you're wrong, Gray. And I hope that the information that you got is dated prior to these dates here, January 26th and 25th.
I'm going to bring it up for you right now.
Oh, man.
This was dated February 2nd.
Really? Is this it right here? Okay, let's see. Alaska plans to send National Guard members to Mexico border in support of federal government. The deployment could take place as soon as later this year, according to mobilization. Well,
so this could be more information.
Could it be that they're federalizing the National Guard?
It could be. I'm trying to see if it says anything about the governor. I'm looking through this real quick. Alaska National Guard, 20 guardsmen, September.
Oh, but wait a minute here. Wait a minute, Gray. Read that first paragraph.
The state of Alaska is planning to send members of its National Guard south to the Mexican border, responding to an order from the federal government for assistance securing. So it's not the governor, it's the.
I know, but for what? What are they going there?
If you go down here, it says deployment could put Alaska soldiers in the middle of an increasingly tense dispute between Texas and the federal government, and would have those soldiers support a federal effort that Governor Mike Dunleavy and his administration have repeatedly criticized.
You see, this article right here is kind of confusing, because that first couple of lines there, it says for assistance securing the international border, which is what Texas is doing, securing the international border. See, so I guess we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look at this. Guard members from 34 states and U.S. territories were sent by DOD to the 4 border state, according to the GAO. Let it be, man. Whatever it's going to be is going to be. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. We'll just have to wait and see. I know that some people just want a firecracker to pop off so that we can get this over with, because it's going to be a fight. I've been saying this for years. There's going to be a fight. There's going to be a fight. The question is good going to win over evil? I believe that good will prevail over evil, because throughout history, it always has, right? But there's going to be a lot of suffering in between. So that's what we're preparing for.
I watched I don't know if it's a document. It's not a documentary. It was a news piece by CBS News. And they showed, so I guess Chinese migrants are using TikTok to become basically to cross the southern border in a specific spot in California called the Gap. And it was interesting that they were showing it. CBS News was showing the how it tells them specifically where to go, how to go, and do all this stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it was all in Mandarin, but they were translating it, and they were talking to the Chinese migrants that were coming across the border and coming through there, and asking them why they were coming and reasons and all that stuff like that. It was interesting that they're using the Chinese app TikTok to get the information to get to the US, to get to that where that crossing is, and it's the safest spot for them to cross. I thought that was interesting for that to be happening, and CBS did this piece on it. But if you're interested in, if someone wants to look into that, they can just look up Chinese migrants, TikTok, and CBS News, and they can find that little clip from that, because it was quite interesting. I thought it was interesting that, because some people, when we talk about the southern border, some folks think only the southern, South
Yeah, yeah,
America,
yeah, which is
Mexico and stuff
a
like
big
that.
misconception. And I have to say, Brian Atchison, I agree with you 100%. I agree
Mhm.
with you 100%. We are being invaded. Invaded is what we're being. And our federal government is doing squat about it. Why? Because that's what they want to happen. It is something that I've talked about for many, many years, and that is called the Cloward and Piven strategy. That's all it is. It's
It-
two things. It's the Cloward and Piven strategy. And I don't know if I'll get in trouble for saying this, but it's also the replacement theory, right? They don't have a base of support anymore. Their base of support is faltering. So now they need a new group of people that will support their rhetoric as long as they are promised freebies for the rest of their lives. And that's exactly what they're doing. They are replacing their base, and they're using the Cloward and Piven strategy in order to blame the coming collapse, on we the people. And then hopefully we the people will beg them to increase our slavelyhood. Is that a word? Slavelyhood?
I don't know.
We the
It makes me.
people in general, don't get triggered, ladies and gentlemen. We the people in general will ask the federal government to enslave us further in order to stop the pain, not knowing that we're just going to produce more pain for our children going forward. So that's all it is. It's a replacement theory, number one, and Cloward and Piven strategy. That's how you destroy a nation, number one, and that's how you turn a capitalistic nation, i.e., a free nation, into a Marxist, communist, socialist nation, which has been their goal for a long time.
I want to do a quote from someone who voted for Biden. His name is Elon Musk. Some people may know who he is, but he's publicly stated he voted for Biden in the last election. But he said he says Biden wants to create a permanent majority, a one-party state, by encouraging illegal immigration combined with a few deportations, as every deportation is a lost vote. So interesting quote.
I was actually watching a documentary on Cuba. It's very recent too. It's just a guy walking around Cuba and showing what the streets look like in January of 2024. So I'll send you the link, because it's very entertaining just watching people going about their everyday lives. And I was thinking about, you remember here about a year or two ago when they were questioning Mayorkas, whatever that trader's name is, about why was he turning back the Cubans that wanted to come to the United States? Have you ever thought about that, Gray? Why was he turning back the Cubans who is actually escaping from a socialist / communist country, wanting to come here? And why was he turning them back, but not turning back everyone else coming through the southern border? Oh, I think we might have lost Gray. Gray, if we lost you, just come back in when you're ready. All right, we'll probably cover this again. Ladies and gentlemen, can you give me a 1 if I'm coming in loud and clear, just to make sure that I'm still actually on with you all? Very good. Very good. Okay, I'm coming in good. Well, Celine's got it. The reason that he doesn't want any Cubans to come here, to immigrate here, even though Mayorkas, I believe, is Cuban himself, is because Cubans are living through communism right now, and they hate communism. And they know that if they allow Cubans to come to the United States of America in whichever way, and they turn into legal residents and then into citizens that can vote, they know how Cubans will vote. I know I can't talk about that too much because I don't want to get shut down. But that's why, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Anyways, let's see. Okay, thank you very much for all of the ones coming in good. Yeah, lazy. Your name cracks me up. Lazy mofo prepper. Our tax dollars is funding illegal stations. Yes, I know. Our tax dollars are being stolen from us, and it's taxation without representation, ladies and gentlemen. And can you just imagine that we had a revolution before the United States was the United States? We had a revolution because taxes were getting too high, and we're talking about 3% or so at that time. And now just take a look at how much of our wealth they steal right from under our noses. Hey, he's back. Let me get a 1 if you want to allow Gray to come back. Let me see. Sorry, Gray. We're getting 2s all over the place. There you are. All right, man.
I said something to the powers that be and must have knocked me off for a minute.
Hey, did you hear why? Were you able to hear why? What my answer was? Why it is that they didn't have a problem with everyone else coming through the southern border, but they had a problem with letting Cubans come in?
Yeah, I caught it. I keep my phone up in case things like that happen.
Oh,
So
okay,
I can keep them
awesome.
going on.
Yeah. So that's why, man. It's because Cubans are right now. Like, take a look at this. I forget the name of this lady, all right, but she escaped from North Korea and she immigrated to this country. All right. She's married to an American citizen. She immigrated to this country. And I believe that she's obtained her naturalization, her American citizenship. She came from a communist country, a dictatorial communist country. And who do you think she votes for in the United States? She votes for those that are against Marxism, that are against communism, socialism, because she's lived it. Talk to Billy from Frontier Preppers. Do you think he's for Marxism or against it? He's 100% against it. Why? Because he's lived it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why they won't allow Cubans to come into this country like they're allowing others to come into this country through the back door, because they know where they will vote. And I'm sorry if it triggers some of you that I'm talking about some politics, not even that much, but it's just common sense and it's facts. People that are now being oppressed want to come here because they no longer want to be oppressed, not because they want to be oppressed all over again by voting in a system that will do exactly that, oppress them and steal from them their freedoms.
Someone asked in the comments, why all the politics? And here's my response to that. In regards to politics, is that politics affects our way of life, and people need to be informed in regards to certain things in the political structure, just to be aware of certain situations that are arising in the political realm of things. I mean, I'm pretty sure Rudy can address that as well.
I mean, listen, Gray, and listen, ladies and gentlemen, you know that this channel, one of the things about this channel is I always kept politics out of it. And to a great extent, I believe that I still do. But you have to, you have to realize, what's going on. Do we just allow this to continue? Do we as a nation, as a citizen, just allow this to continue, knowing that if it does, it will steal away the freedom of our children? Do we just allow it to continue? You know what? I was talking to my wife here a while back, and we have some silver and we have a very little bit of gold, but we have a little bit of each, right? And we were talking. I was like, well, our kid. I was making a joke, something like, well, I'm going to hide this somewhere, on our property, and our kids will have to find it, because our plan is not to use that. It's to leave it to our children, right? My plan is that if I have an ounce of silver right here, if I got an ounce of silver, it's not so that I can take it next week and spend it. It's so that hopefully I don't need to spend it. And that if I don't, I can leave it to my children. Shouldn't we want the same thing when it comes to freedom, to leave that for our children? And unfortunately, very unfortunately, politics is involved. because politics is what is stripping us of our freedoms. So we need to change the system by which we are governed. I have no problem with having a system that stands over us in governance. Why is that? Because we kind of need that in the world that we live in today. We kind of need that, but we don't need it to the extent where they tell you everything that you can possibly do every minute of every day. We don't need it to the extent to where they steal what 50, 60, 70% of all of the wealth that you've generated in your working life. We don't need it to the extent to where federal, state, local have produced over 300,000 laws that are on the books. Ladies and gentlemen, there's over 300,000 laws, rules, regulations by the federal, state, or local governments on the books in the United States of America. Is that freedom to you? And is that what you want to leave to your children? And if it's not what you want to leave to your children, then unfortunately, once in a while, it has to get political. Plain and simple. You can run away from it all you want, but eventually it will catch up to you.
Yeah, I see there's a conversation in chat with Love is Everything, and it's talking about most preppers are Republicans. But Viv B, you're absolutely right. It says most preppers are conservative, not Republican. We have a conservative mindset. And I always hope that folks, when I every once in a while, I will get political on my channel as well. I try to keep it out of it. I've learned the hard way. And don't ever let some of the political content that we have discussed ever deter you from, preparedness, because there's a lot of important information that we share, regardless of our political opinion on something or whatnot. But yes, a lot of people ask me in regards to how I believe, but I just believe in the Constitution.
Yep,
And
me too.
so some people say you're a constitutionalist, whatever you want to label me as, it's whatever. I just believe in the documents. And I also believe in policy. So whoever is running the government at the time, do they have good policies? Is the economy looking good? Is, our freedoms being stepped on? Just all the different things that make me want to vote for a specific person, whoever it may be at the time. I feel personally that the political realm of things have shifted either far left or far right, and that's where people push it and to create the division. If JFK was alive today, who was a Democrat, he would be considered a far right person probably at this point, versus the way he thought compared to the way the political structure is now. That's just my personal perspective on that. I don't know else how to explain myself regards to the political realm of things, but because I felt that JFK was a good president personally.
Yep, unfortunately, the dark side felt he was a good president too, and that's why they got rid
Yeah,
of him.
and that's a great point to make. Is that we can go down the rabbit hole, but yeah, the dark side, I say the elites or whoever it was, decided to remove him in a way that was very bad.
And you know what, Gray? What some people may not understand is that, and I say Orange Man bad just so that the algorithm doesn't, treat me bad. But what some people don't understand is that even if Orange Man bad gets back in office, it's not easy town. We still have these fundamental problems with our system's infrastructure. So our system by which we're governed today, our financial system that is so flawed that there's no way to save it. There's actually a way to save it. A way to save it where we will come out of it in the long run, but no one will agree to it because it's just too much pain. The only way, and this is my opinion, but I think it's the right one. The only way, in my opinion, that we can save our monetary system is to back the dollar by gold. That's it. That's the only way we can save it now. And or by resources, by oil, by corn, by wheat, whatever it is that we make a lot of and we are good at making a lot of. But in the end, it's by gold that it'll be back. By gold and or silver if we have a bimetallic backing. That's the only way that we can really save the dollar. But what will that do? That will create inflation like crazy. Why is that? Because they will have to revalue gold at an insanely high price because of all of the debt that's denominated in dollars, Federal Reserve notes that's out there in the system. So that will be extremely painful. We would go into a multi-year, if not a decadal depression, not only in the US, but probably worldwide, because you have to think of all of the debt that we would be reining in, right? If we valued the dollar and gold. So it'd be extremely painful. It's never going to happen. The only way that it will happen is if our system that we have now completely goes away and we have to start over something new, right? So if Orange Man Bag gets back into office, it's not easy town. We are still going to have years and years of suffering before things get better. Something is going to have to really break and break hard before we can actually start getting better as a nation. So, and that's why I am so adamant. That's why I always tell you, you have to stay prepared no matter what. All right. Stay prepared, fill in the gaps, no matter what, no matter who's in office, because the system will eventually break, and it'll probably break when you least expect it.
Sorry, I was going through the chat. I was reading the conversations. If see how many people were upset or not upset in regards to the conversation that we were having. It's always fun to read stuff. You know what I mean? I've said things in the past a long time ago. I know some people will take things out of context, man. And I was like, wow, I really didn't mean it that way. But it's always going to be a divisive nature when it comes to the political realm of things. But I agree with you, Rudy, in regards to the key topic is just being prepared in general. And that's why I like to focus on that specifically outside of just the political realm of things. It's interesting to see the way the youth are being. You know, this is going to sound crazy. There was a new poll out that 1 out of 5 young Americans think that the Holocaust was a myth. Doesn't that blow your mind?
Yeah, that's propaganda right there. That's propaganda at its finest, and that's what our schools are teaching. Our schools are not schools anymore. They're indoctrination centers. That's what they are.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I read that.
I see society changing in front of my eyes. I hate going out to town. I hate, as much as I love Costco, I try to go there during the light hours, but every once in a while I find myself, going there during family day. Saturdays usually are family day where I don't do anything in the bunker and we do stuff. And every once in a while I find myself there and I'm like, oh my goodness, look at society. It's I don't even want to talk about what I'm thinking now, that I see happening in society. It's so terrible. And schools are just, the thing is that the Marxist mentality, they're very smart. These people are, not only are they smart, but they stick to it. They don't quit. They're not quitters. Even though they know that they are wrong, they are smart about how they do it, how they propagandize children, and they stick to it. Even though you can give them proof, put it right in front of their face, they're going to keep saying that 2 and 2 is 5. I don't care how many times you tell me or prove to me that is 4. And, and it's, unfortunately, there's absolutely nothing that we can do against that mentality because they've already made up their mind. There's nothing that you're going to do to change it. Can imagine, Gray, how are you going to change someone's mind when you tell them that, hey, 2 and 2 is 4, 2 plus 2 is 4, and they tell you, no, it's not, it's 5. And there's nothing that you can do to change their mind that you are right and they're wrong. Even though
their mind is conditioned. Their mind is conditioned.
In front of you can bring Einstein back from the dead, and he can explain it to them that 2 plus 2 is 4, and they will never ever accept it. Okay, what do you do with people like that? The only good thing about people like that is that they don't like to reproduce, and they don't believe in reproducing. They don't want to have kids. That's the only good part about people like that, is that they don't like to reproduce, and eventually they will be gone because they don't want to have children. And I believe that godly people, they know that children are godly and children are beautiful and children are our future. Isn't Michael Jackson that said that? Wasn't that him that said that,
MJ? Possibly. You don't want to talk to MJ too much.
No, MJ's alive. Him and Elvis are hanging out in a little island somewhere.
They're in Jamaica, man. They're hanging out, man. I saw a comment by Lazy Mofo Prepper. He said the elites are attacking residential gardens, and I agree. I went over that last week on the live stream. last Monday. They absolutely are, man. Anything that we do to become self-sufficient, there's an
I just
attack.
did a video about that today. I put up a video about that today, about how they're attacking home gardeners and farming and gardening by saying that it produces too much carbon from some.
You know what made me feel really good about after I did that live stream is a couple of days later, I watch a bunch of gardening channels because I'm an avid gardener myself, and there was a gardening channel I watched he had a piece of paper in his hand, and he's like the thumbnail was like I'm furious, and he's just a casual guy, never any politics or anything like that in there, and he was hoping he went through a rant in the beginning of it and was just saying, I hope this doesn't deter anybody out there from not gardening. He says, and he went into the whole what is it called, climate change thing and all stuff like that, and he doesn't have he never talks politics on there. And I was just like, man, I was proud that he went in there because that's his life. That's his life is gardening, man.
Ray, it's common sense. I mean, it's common sense. Let me just give you one quick example. You're growing a head of lettuce in your backyard.
Mm-hmm.
You take a seed, you put it in the ground. A head of lettuce is what, a half-inch down, right? A half-inch down, I think it is. You put it in the ground, you pat it, you water it, and maybe if your dirt needs a little fertilizer, you give it a little fertilizer, and that's pretty. You keep the weeds off of it. That's what you're doing, all right, to get that head of lettuce. And I don't know, 5-6 weeks, whatever kind of lettuce it is that you have. Maybe one takes a little longer, a little less, whatever. 5-6 weeks, you have a head of lettuce. Okay. Now, how are you going to get a head of lettuce if you don't grow your own? Well, some farmer in California or in Mexico, they're going to grow lettuce and they're going to, have a big old field. They're going to have tractors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to put that lettuce in a box, put it in a truck, and they're going to transport it to whatever port it is that needs to be transported in order for them to get it shipped to you either via vessel or via train, and then put it, et cetera, right? Mm-hmm. What am I getting at? Look at the carbon footprint. I hate saying look at the carbon footprint because it doesn't matter. It's carbon, CO2 is a moot point. We need CO2 to live, right? We need the atmosphere is 0.04% CO2, right? At 0.02, vegetation starts to die. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen, right? So the carbon footprint on that head of lettuce that you just went and got at Walmart is probably 10 times that of the head of lettuce that you grew yourself in your garden. But now they're trying to convince you that growing your own food is bad for the climate. Incredible. The climate's been changing since the beginning of time. It will never stop changing. There you go. Thank you for your support, ladies and gentlemen. This video has been demonetized, so please when you rewatch, let it run all the way through. Let the ads run through. That really helps.
It makes me think because just yesterday, it was Sunday morning, we were harvesting our cauliflower, we were harvesting lettuce, all kinds of stuff. And it just feels so good to be able to know how to do that, man, and not have to worry about what's inside, what pesticides and what, unorganic fertilizers that people used, the mainstream to bring that to the store where you're at. I don't know. It just makes me feel good growing my own food. That's why I love gardening.
I love the way that people think.
Yeah, humans are garden. Yeah.
Look, I'm not making fun of anyone, okay? But I just love the way that people think, because here I'm using lettuce as an example, and some people here are like, Rudy, but lettuce doesn't have any nutrients in it.
Well, some people get that wrong.
No, listen, I just use lettuce as an example, right? And some people are like, oh, lettuce has a whole bunch of. I'm like, I'm just using lettuce as an example. It could have been a tomato, it could have been a carrot, it could have been a turnip, all right, lady?
I grow red lettuce, man, and it does have some nutrients in there with that red color in there. Lots of nutrients. Iceberg lettuce.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said iceberg lettuce is just water, pretty much. That's doesn't have nutrients for there, but there's different types of lettuce that you can grow that actually has nutrients, and there's a lot of misnomers in regards to lettuce, just because we're talking about it. But yeah, I agree. If you use something as a key point, some people will take it and run with it, unfortunately.
That's funny. No, you know what? The funny thing is that even though my diet consists of like 95%, if not more, proteins and fats, I still love lettuce. I love tomato. I love all that stuff. And every once in a while, you know, on my weekends, I convert to like a ketovore diet, to where
Mhm.
I allow myself like 30 up to 50 grams of carbohydrates during the weekends per day. Whereas during the week, it's pretty much mostly just proteins and fats. So I still love to have myself a salad, you know, with lettuce and tomatoes and all that kind of stuff. I still like that kind of stuff, but I've found that after over a year, after just eating mainly proteins and fats, that my body just doesn't like that fiber anymore, man. It just doesn't like that. It bloats me up, you know. So I run a lot better on fats and protein.
Thank you, Celtic. I appreciate you watching my garden videos. I just looked up real quick on the red lettuce that I'm growing, and it has 159 milligrams of potassium, 21 milligrams of sodium, vitamin C, iron, B6, calcium, vitamin D, magnesium. So it's like I said, that's why I like sharing that information. That's why I like doing my gardening videos, to help people
Yeah,
become more aware
just
of stuff.
just eat some nutrient survival, man.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Just go
Yes,
get your nutrient survival. You don't have to worry about any nutrients in lettuce or turnips or whatever, right?
which
Believe it or not, Gray, I have nutrient survival every single day. Every day I don't have the food because of the carbs, but I have the immune boost almost every day. I have the
Mhm.
berry blend. I have the coffee. I have every once in a while during the weekend, I might sneak in a double pack of the oatmeal raisin cookies that I still have. You know, I love that stuff. And that, ladies and gentlemen, great. Don't you have something going on with nutrient survival?
I do. It's making me
Okay.
think, because tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Go check it out. Yes, I'm affiliated with Nutrient Survival, but go check out Gray's. He's got a promotion going on now, which means that he's probably going to be able to get you a good deal on whatever it is. Nutrient Survival is the very most dense food that there is, period. And when I say most dense food, I don't mean the most dense freeze-dried food. I mean the most nutrient dense
Mhm.
food, period. It really is, because they put all of these nutrients that you need into all of the food that they sell. So you need to check it out and at least have it on standby in case there comes a time where you just can't get the nutrition that you need. It's easy to get calories, you know? It's easy to get your macros, but
Mhm.
getting your micros, that's what really counts, you know?
It does.
And that's one of the reasons why I love Nutrient Survival, man. So
Look
go
at
check
look.
out your promotion and check it out, because it's awesome
It,
stuff.
it'll be fun tomorrow. We got some topics we're going to be talking about. But look, I don't know if you can see this, Rudy, or not. I don't know if it'll pull up on the screen. I'm actually thinking
Wow,
about
that is
using.
pretty cool, man.
Love
I
what
like
they did
that.
with the logo, man. Love what they did with
Awesome.
that, man. That's going to be a sneak
Very
peek for
nice.
tomorrow, man. Love this thing. I've been showing this to so many different people here locally, and they're like, "That is awesome." I said, "Yeah, they designed it themselves. They had a great
That's
design team."
Grant. That's Grant that
Grant,
does that.
that it is.
Grant is
Grant,
awesome.
man. I told Grant, I said, I'm honestly thinking about rebranding my logo with that logo, man. I said, you got to send me all the stuff. I really
Well, you
love
don't
what you
like
did.
mine? You don't like the one that they did for me?
I know I love yours too, man.
DDSG, man. I love that cup.
Oh man, there's just such a great company and fun folks
It
to work
is.
for, because they truly care about the folks that they're doing the things for, man. Oh man, you know what? We touched almost every topic. I only have one topic left. Then I was just gonna.
Let's do it.
You want to go on the last one? The last one on this
Let's do
paper?
it, man. Let's do it.
I just wanted to touch on something that Britain is planning on doing. They plan on using AI powered drones to protect nuclear sites with paint bombs and smoke guns. AI powered drones, like the new RoboCop. That's what Britain's plan on doing, is using that to protect nuclear sites. Interesting, eh?
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, whatever, man.
Oh man, there's just so many different things that are happening in this world that just make you think to yourself, like, is that really a great idea, man?
Gray, I don't know what's going to happen with YouTube here in this next year. This is going to be a very interesting year with AI. I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you or not
To
when
me,
I
you
talked
did,
to you
not to the
earlier.
viewers. When we were on the
Uh,
phone, you talked about it.
but yeah, I actually put a video out early this morning about getting scammed by AI. And it was a segue from the Economic Ninjas video that he put out over the weekend, because it's important that people understand that artificial intelligence is going to be used to scam a lot of people out of their money. And people just don't understand that yet, but they will soon. So I hope that if you haven't watched that video, go watch it, because everything I said there makes a lot of sense. But I'm not sure what's going to happen with YouTube this year, because, or with even the internet or computers, because AI, man, is going to be used. We've got quantum computing. Imagine when quantum computing becomes mainstream and you have AI. You're not going to be able to tell me or you apart from who's the real me or you, or who's the AI. And like I told Gray earlier this morning, ladies and gentlemen, I've actually been contacted by 2 or 3, I think it's 3 production companies that said, hey, listen, if you want, we can just run your channel and just, you don't have to do anything, meaning me, that I don't have to do anything, that they'll pick the prepping subjects, and it'll be me on the screen, and it'll be an artificial intelligence me on the screen, talking just like I talk, with my mannerisms, with my tones, with my ladies and gentlemen, with all that stuff. And nobody would be able to tell that it was AI. And obviously I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not interested in that at all. Right. But I can see that happening. And then what? I mean, you know, AI is going to be, I think it was China that said that the country that controls the 21st century will be the country that has mastered artificial intelligence, or something like that. So it's going to be very interesting. This is a very interesting time for us to live as far as the human cycle goes. You know, very interesting. So we do live in interesting times.
Crazy. Are you fake Rudy right now? Yeah.
No, I'm not the fake Rudy. Let me see. Ow. I lived about. Wouldn't that be awesome? Well, not awesome. Wouldn't that be scary, Gray, if I was an AI right now and even you couldn't tell?
That'd be crazy that you're conversating and having this conversation with me. And
no, but the thing is that the Economic Ninja, if you guys go watch my video and go to his, or go to his, if you can get to his video there, he was saying that some of his people have gotten scammed out of a lot of money because they have used AI to impersonate him and convince people into investing money. I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, it's got to be really good for someone to give up. This wasn't $100. This was tens of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
That this person gave up because they thought that it was the real, actual Economic Ninja talking with them. Man,
it's getting wild out there, my friend, and it's not going to stop. It's just going to keep on going from military to people's jobs. I was watching robots folding clothes just recently, and they did it in a very easy. I was just like, wow. It's a scary thing that's going to happen, man, and it's not going to stop. This is just the beginning. We're just in the early stages.
Yeah, we are. Yep. All right, let's get to the last subject because I think that dinner's calling.
Yeah,
I hear the bell.
I think we went over everything. I think, yeah, let me double check. Yeah, that was the last one. I just had that at the bottom as I saw that it was interesting. I had a plan, and the plan went pretty well in regards to our conversations and leading into different things and the topics that we spoke about. And as always, I always enjoy having fun and getting your perspective on the things that I bring up to see how you react to them. You know what I mean?
Robots are making burritos in Japan.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. There will be the folks that utilize the Wendy's, the Burger Kings, and all that stuff like that. Eventually, there will be nobody working there. It'll be all robots and AI tech.
The thing is, Gray, listen to this. This is very scary. All right, and I think you'll agree when I tell you. So, AI, computers, cloning, people not knowing who is who, people getting scammed. Okay, who is going to call Mr. and Mrs. Government? Sure, those people that are getting scammed are going to scream, we need regulation. Have you heard something about you having to use biometrics in order to just log into your computer? Have you heard about that? There you go. That's what it's working towards. And that is the scary part to me, is that it gets out of control enough to where people in general, because we live in a democracy, remember, a democracy is the best form of government, right? Because 51% of the people can order the other 49% on how they should live their lives. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic, right? But since we live in a democracy, and I understand, ladies and gentlemen, these United States of America is a republic, but on paper only. Sure, we're a republic, but do we act like a republic? Absolutely not, right? We almost don't even act like a democracy.
Mhm.
But when all of these people get screwed over by AI and they start asking the government for changes, for regulations, the government's going to come out and say exactly what they've been planning all along. Well, in order to log into the internet, you're going to have to put in your biometrics. That way, we know who it is that's actually pushing the buttons on your end. And you know what? Just like that centrally banked digital currency that the people are going to beg for once the financial system collapses, people are going to beg for this as well. Why? Well, because people just don't like to be informed. And who can blame them when they're just living to pay their bills and keep a roof over their head and keep their kids fed? Who can really blame them? Having said that, I better stop before I give you all more gloom and doom than we already had.
Other than that, yeah, I think we had a really productive conversation as
All
usual.
right.
I think, and then so folks, Rudy, you want to give your spiel on how our little collabs kind of work if anybody's new on here tonight?
Well, for anyone that's new, what we do is Grayman and myself, we get together every Monday. One Monday is on this channel here, and then the following Monday is on Gray's channel, which means that next Monday we will have this same conversation. Well, not the same conversation, but the same format on Grayman's channel. And what I will do is as soon as I get a link for that live stream, I'll put it up on the community. And if I have a video out that day, I'll talk about it and let you all know so that you can join in. It's always the same time, 3 p.m. Alaska time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And it's pretty much the same as this. I'm the talker. I'm the yapper. Gray is the brains. You all know Gray is the brains behind this operation. I'm just the person that likes to yap and likes to vent in front of all of you, ladies and gentlemen. But in all honesty, before Gray signs off, I want to say thank you very much for joining in. Truly do appreciate all of your support. If you're not subscribed to Grayman Prepping, go over there and give the man a subscription. He definitely does deserve it. And if you haven't checked out the videos that I put out today, there are 2 waiting for you to click on. And ladies and gentlemen, please support me, not just me, but Gray as well, by clicking on our videos and letting them run all the way through. It really tells YouTube that we want to be watched, and then they'll share our stuff with other people. We are in a time where I believe that people who are not prepared now are running out of time to be able to get prepared at all. And remember, the more people that are not prepared, the worse that it will actually be for you and me, because there will be more people knocking at our doors trying to get at the stuff that we already have. So having
Absolutely.
said that, God bless every one of you. God bless America. Gray, take it away before I hit the outro.
All right, folks, thank you again for taking the time out of your evening to hang out with us. We truly appreciate the support. If you get a chance, leave a comment down in the comment section under Rudy's video. That also helps benefit the channel. And remember, folks, you are not alone. This is Grayman and Rudy, and we're out.
Órale.